All right, guys. Once again, I'm Knowa Lazarus of Q York. Uh, and I know this is the music forum, but yeah, I just really want to connect with everybody too, just share the story um of, the culmination of everything of now to being here, with a whole unit conference, a unit network and the music token. I'm originally from Queens, New York, hence the name Q York, the name of my group. I also lived in Los Angeles for about 6, 7 years before moving back to the Philippines in the motherland, which for me was a big journey in terms of exploring my roots and also self-discovery, I guess, finding the purpose to passion. So I know, you know, Leroy Menace spoke earlier and he talked about fame in that transition. So I think for me it was very similar. But I guess the whole point of what I just kind of want to share is having purpose to passion. And I think that's what, this music token is all about. Is putting purpose to what we do, and it's also bringing us all together, because I feel like, passion, talent, skills, I mean, all those things, um you know those only go so long, right? I think it's the purpose behind it, I think, that gives you that longevity and ability to run in the marathon of what we call the music industry. Yeah. So just to bring y'all back, I'm the only child of American immigrants coming to America, first generation, born in America. So I grew up especially in the melting pot, New York City, and in the mecca of the birthplace of hip hop, and also the basketball mecca. So I grew up loving basketball and music. Basically those are basketball and hip hop. Those are the two things. And I have faced a lot of struggles, I guess, growing up with identity, in terms of, knowing where I come from, knowing what I stand for, all those things. And I think, yeah, going back to the Philippines was a big part of me understanding myself. And I think that's what all this is about. I mean, even with, the music token and everything, it's all about us, discovering ourselves as well as a community. Yeah. So, and, I'm thankful for Nikita. Thank you for everybody here. I didn't get a round of applause, so I'm going to give myself a round of applause.
Give it up, y'all.
Can you tell us a little more about your journey about, when you going to the Philippines and finding your passion?
Well, I think I always had the passion, but I think my problem was I was doing it for the wrong reasons. When I started, of course, I'll just tell y'all a story of music and discovery. I think I was 16 years old. I was a teenager, Queens, New York City. I played for my high school basketball team, and how I actually discovered like rap and hip hop music, or that maybe I had a talent for it, was when we would take the bus to away games. It'd be like an hour and a half, 2 hour bus ride, and we would just freestyle on the back of the bus. And for me, it was just a joke. But then a lot of my teammates would always, say, "Hey, you're actually pretty good. You should, keep rapping." And it was just kind of a joke, And at that time, I was like, the only Asian kid on the basketball team. So they had a lot of funny nicknames for me, but I won't repeat those here. And yeah. The next thing you know, I had a fake ID. I get to this club, and my friend dared me to get on the mic, and I did my thing. And then ever since that day, to this day, I'm still doing it. It was just like in that one moment, you discover like, yo, this is what this is all about, and this is what I do, and or what I want to do. I'm gonna do this the rest of my life. That was basically the thought I had that the second I got off that mic, the first time ever. And and I've been doing it ever since. And I think that's what it is. Like, you know, we're given certain talents and certain things or certain passions that we're drawn to, but a lot of times, you know, people are scared to take that leap, or to just go for it. And I went through a lot of struggles, but still standing, still doing it, and just happy to be here. Yoy. And yeah, what else you got, Nikita?
I understand that you're performing for us some songs in between.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we ready to do a song already? All right, let's go. I'm going to perform. I just want to share music, and I want to share vibes and just kind of like mindset and everything. I mean, and just one thing I want to say is like, a lot of times, of course, we need plans, you need strategy, you need marketing, but I think a lot of times we're just drawn to certain things and you just got to run with it. And whatever happens is what's going to happen, but you move with your best foot forward. And whenever you feeling like you're gonna have a breakdown, that's when the breakthrough happens. All right, so I'm gonna share some music with y'all. I hope this is cool. If y'all have any questions, want to ask me anything, feel free to ask. I know it's kind of late for the people in Asia, so but yeah, let's get it, yo. So let's see what I got. When I do something up tempo, or should I tell? Let's go. This one is called. Actually, I'm gonna play the song. This is the song that put us on the map in the Philippines. And kind of allowed us to do our thing. It's called Mainit, and if you don't know, Mainit means hot. Shout outs to the World Hip Hop Dance Champions, Philippine All Stars, for believing in us. And let's go. We got to turn this up. Now we need to turn it up. This one's called Mainit. Shout out to Flavor-Matics. Let's go.
I know you heard it like this before, but it wasn't like this before. I know you heard it like this before, but it wasn't like this before. I know you heard it like this before, but it wasn't like this before. I know you heard it like this before, but it wasn't like this before.
To the left, to the right, run it up, 3 stars to the sun. Oh boy, Pinoy, we still here, can't be destroyed. Hold on, New York, we filling the void. Party people, y'all make some noise. You see what it is? I'm on fire, can't be extinguished. You can hate it, just makes me stronger. I even burn underwater. I'm Oscar, got astigmatism. If love's blind, don't fix my vision. Cause what I see is a beautiful land. No white in the products, I'm proud to be tan. Lupon, hit it up and in and out. Lose on, Visayas. Take a higher, beyond the sky's limits. Philippines, if you with us, hear it. It's off sync. Let's try. Well, I guess that didn't work out properly. But yeah, that's the song called Mainit. I know the vocals were out of sync. I'm still trying to master how all this works here. But yeah. Test. Let's do a mic check, Tino. You tuned in right now? Let's try one more and let me know if it's on point. All right. Test. All right, let me know if this is good. If it's good, I'm gonna keep going. If it's not, I'm gonna stop. Yeah. You know I'm sharp, I'm gonna shay. Better listen to what he say like a survey, 100 authentic. I'm a killer with the lyrics, John Wick with a pencil and a boom bat, boomerang. Started with a vision, turned into a mission. Nothing was given. Thank you, Lord. It's yours we fought. Now look at us, barbecue York. Yeah, we got the sauce. Ooh, built a very infectious. True, it's entertainment on a lesson. Move. You're gonna feel that bass, giving birth to a movie, watch it procreate. Yeah, I got all the right tactics. And if you need them, got crazy prophylactics. I'm on point, baby, just like a cactus. No capping, she know who the captain. How's that, Tino? Okay now?
That's good.
We good now. Wepa. This one is called Wepa. So we like to include Tagalog, our native language in songs. Hey, yo. I'm Joy Bataan with the rapo, clapo. Hook mics like tobacco. Even grandpa want to see you get low. Even grandpa, like a mojo. Sort of like shaking. All right. Anyways, that's just some music. So it's not synced though, but the sound is good. But anyways, just sharing some music with y'all. But yeah, man, I just wanted to, talk about, you put out good energy, good things happen. And that's been one of the things that I think, growing up here, I think traveling is one of the, most important things I would think in terms of education. Because growing up here in America, a lot of times you're taught like A, B, C, D, E, you got to take things step by step. But it was when, when I talk about my travels and going to different places, and being in the Philippines, that was kind of where I unlearned all that stuff. And it's kind of like sometimes you just got to trust in your own internal compass in terms of things that you do. So for me, like I mentioned before, I grew up loving music and basketball. And those were two things. Music was one thing. It did become a career as I was blessed to do my thing in the Philippines. I still be doing it. But basketball was always like a chip on my shoulder because it was like I played, I dedicated my life to the game. I would train, and nothing ever really happened in terms of having a career in basketball, but as a player, or let's say as an athlete. But it was something that I always knew I was always passionate about. And so behold, I became an MC for 3x3 basketball or for basketball. And my knowledge of the game and experience in terms of performing allowed me to pursue that as a career. And in terms of, being a host. Yeah. So I know I'm leaving a lot of stuff out. I know there's a lot of things I want to share. So, if you guys, Nikita, maybe you can, let's go. There we go. Thank you, Tino. All right. My obstacles trying to make it in the Mecca. So number one, the tough thing was during my era, let's say like, it still is my era, but let's say late 90s to early 2000s. One of the big things, thank you, Elevation Barn. One of the big things is there's a rapper on every corner. There was a producer on every corner or every block. And for somebody to become your fan in New York, a lot of it was like, oh, you got to battle my brother. You got to battle my cousin. My cousin's better than you, or my boys are better than you, my crew. So it was almost like, you're surrounded by hip hop all the time. So everybody's into hip hop. And then I guess the other thing about it was at that time, I know there's more Asian artists being promoted, and I'm so happy about that. But a lot of it was too is like, I was Filipino or Asian, however it was classified as. And that also became, one thing was there was a surprise factor, but the other thing was like, oh, is he legit? Is he a gimmick, or is this real? And those were some of the struggles. We would roll up, like, I know, Leroy Menace was talking about, hustle. We would sell CDs. We would have picket signs, outside of Fat Beats. We rolled 20, 30 deep to the club, and, we would just push our CDs, but it just got to the point where it just started feeling like, all right, this is what we're going to be doing, the rest of our life. And you're trying to seek for, I guess I would say maybe greener pastures, if that's how I look at it. Now, this time, I know we spoke about MySpace, we spoke about all these different platforms. We started uploading our music online, and we started getting a lot of fans from California saying, hey, y'all need to come out to California. You know, there's a big community here and we support you. So, you know, we did it, you know, that the hustle mentality, just started making contacts, you know, especially during this time. You know, this was websites. So we start visiting websites or promoters, start reaching out. And, you know, we booked our own tour in Los Angeles, and we visited for about 2 weeks. And then we decided from there, like, hey, yo, let's just take the leap and, you know, move to Los Angeles. And we had a lot of struggles in Los Angeles. Moved into a studio apartment, probably really small, and it was just 2 futons, and we just used the closet as our recording booth. But I think, you know, big shout outs to Flav, me and him at that time, we just felt like if music is all we're gonna do, then we gotta have no plan B. This has to be everything. And you know, we moved to LA, and we were staying in Koreatown, Wilshire Boulevard, in a small studio apartment. And, you know, had a nervous breakdown because I didn't know how I was going to pay my bills. And, you know, lo and behold, big shout outs to the homies, because they gave us a suggestion at that time, say, hey, why don't we start pressing CDs? So took the last money we had, we bought a CD printer and a CD tower, and, you know, just started posting ads on Craigslist. I know y'all know Craigslist. And started getting clients. It was like $100 here, $200. Still wasn't a lot of money, but, you know, good thing we did have some connections. So, you know, we used to hang out with Ron Artest, now known as Meta World Peace, back in Queens. And, you know, he hit us up and he's like, hey, I heard you're making CDs. Can I get like 50,000 CDs? And this was at a point, you know, like I said, I guess that's going to be one of the themes, is like, you know, when you feel like you're going to break down, you're going to find your breakthrough. And he just hit us up and he was like, yo, I need 50,000 CDs. And from there, you know, we couldn't make 50,000 CDs with our small CD printer and tower, but of course I just said yes. I said, yeah, we could do it. And next thing you know, I just start reaching out to factories. I find a factory that'll give me a good wholesale rate. And, you know, we pressed 50,000 CDs. And then from there, that became our business. We started pressing CDs for all the radio DJs, major corporations, etc. Just off of the strength that we did, Meta World Peace, Ron Artest CDs for his record label, True Warrior Records. And yeah, just took the leap of faith, jumped in the fire, figured it out. But I don't think it's just about figuring it out, though. I also think it's about, putting out good energy and, connecting with people and building bridges. And I think that's what we all do through music. And that's what the music token is all about. Yeah.
But also you had the foresight to anticipate the changing landscape once CDs were getting out of, we're kind of getting out of business. Can you tell us more about adapting to
the
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I knew once the MP3 started becoming rampant and I just started seeing it, I was like, hey, I probably got another good year with this. And, things develop in their own pace. So I think a lot of it is also, just paying attention to the signs. Yeah, I think the music token could crack down ethnical barriers for independent artists. I believe, shout out to Tino. I believe that it can break down a lot of barriers because now it's actually more beneficial, I think, for us to all work together globally. And especially if we have our own community and our own currency, and the definition of currency is something that flows, right? It's like current. So yeah, but yeah, once the MP3 started coming into play, I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But somehow, some way, what happened at this point now is, you know, before we felt like we could never move to the Philippines. It was like, yo, something bad's gonna happen to us. I mean, that's what you're told. Like, you're gonna get kidnapped, you're gonna get robbed, etc. And so before moving back to the Philippines, we started volunteering for this nonprofit called Gawad Kalinga, which is like they build homes for the poor in the Philippines. And I think for us, this was kind of a way to like try to connect in a way. And through them, we were able to meet, you know, the Philippine All-Stars, who are world hip hop dance champions. And we cut a record and it did well. They put it out on the radio in the Philippines and it did well. And all this was happening concurrently when we already started seeing like, hey, this business is not going to last, you know, another 5 years. So we had I felt like we had another year or two before it was gone. And, you know, before the second year hit, in 1 year, you know, we visited the Philippines, we came back, and then, you know, I just focused, you know, it gave me kind of focus. I think once you have purpose, you know, your passion becomes infinite. That's what I feel. And, you know, that's my own, you know, train of thought. So once we visited the Philippines, we came back, you know, the CD business said, hey, me and Flav, my partner Flav in New York, I said, let's move to the Philippines. And we're like, yeah, how are we going to do this? You know, we don't have enough money. So, you know, for 1 year, just focused on the CD business and, you know, was able to do better than it did all the previous years, just off the strength of, you know, me being more aggressive. And once again, there was a purpose that we had to move. And, you know, in that year, we were able to save up, you know, a good amount of money, and we moved straight to the Philippines. Yes, I also tapped into fashion. I mean, basically, I've always been the kind of artist or the kind of person is like, if I feel something or the vibe and the energy is right, you know, I'm in, you know. I don't try to overthink things. I mean, especially even, you know, this also relates maybe to my songwriting or even hosting or even talking. I try not to overthink. I just kind of try to go with the flow. And as I mentioned before, like that's something that I had to learn to harness even more as I've grown, because everybody always tells you there's a certain structure and the way to do things. But I think if you work the way you work and you're efficient the way you work, then, you know, work it how you work it. You know? Yes. I tried to mix things up. I mean, you know, it's just like what we do in our music. You know, same thing with the clothing. That did well too. But the problem was you can't do everything. And that's the beauty of, you know, the Music Token and our whole community here, is that everybody brings something different to the table. That's something I had to learn as I got older and wiser. Like, because before, you know, when you're a young spring chicken, I'm not saying I'm not that young, but, you know, you think you can do everything and you're like, oh, I'll just do it. And yeah, I had a clothing line. We ended up opening a store in a mall. And that was another thing, you know, through the CD business that we had. That was something I never thought of doing, but it happened. Then moving to the Philippines, ended up opening a store in the mall, you know, got seed funding, you know, clothing got featured on television, etc. A lot of celebrities were buying it, but the problem was the supply chain. Just wasn't able to keep up with the demand, and it was stressing me out because it was ruining my reputation. So, you know, when you get a lot of angry clients messaging you and calling you saying, hey, what's the delay? What's going on? And you got to keep giving discounts to appease everybody. It became too much trouble. So that was another thing I had to learn, like what is really, you know, I've always been kind of gung ho. So it's more about now, you know, focusing our energy and also, you know, building teams and communities. So at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. And I think through this Music Token, through the unit network, you know, that's what we're building. But thank you, Tino. Tino knows my history.
We'll talk a little bit more about your Philippine journey and tackling the Philippine dream, but would you like to perform some more songs before then?
If it's delayed, you know, you guys could just check the music. Let's just talk. Because I guess the sound's not all worked out, but it's okay. Cool. Yeah.
Um, Tina has a question.
Another one. Maybe, when Flav gets here, we're gonna try to work that out. There's some family ties there, but that's another story. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Nikita, sorry. What was the question again?
The push towards the decision to move to the Philippines. How did that happen? How did that come about?
Well, it started with, volunteering for this nonprofit Gawat Galinga here in the US. And I think that started connecting us a bit, where we started feeling like, all right, we kind of understand it. And then I think the one that hit in the head was meeting the Philippine All-Stars and watching them dance. They're like 3-time world hip hop dance champions. And I remember seeing them dance. I was like, yo, these guys are really good. I didn't even know that, these guys can dance like that. And us cutting a record and it getting on the radio out there. And it was on, I think our first record was Caught Up, and it was on the charts for like about 3 months. And they were just kind of like, hey, move out, or come out and visit. Then we did a tour. And then from there, we're kind of like, all right, these guys are like us. They love hip hop. Let's do it. And, it only took a word. And next thing you know, 1 year later, we just went out there, got a condo, and we're like, I remember being, super scared, because I'm like, yo, I got nobody. I mean, it's just us and music once again, and then you feel like I did this already. I got to do this again. And we went for it. And, we had a quick rise, and then we also had a quick crash, where it got to the point, and that's also comes down to business decisions. I mean, and that's one of the things that I love about the Music Token, the Unit Network, is very empowering to artists, because we were signed, to management. We had, and lo and behold, when everything settles, you realize that, not everyone has your best interest at stake. When you're hot, they look at you as a cash cow, but when you're not, nobody's trying to put in the legwork. And then you start realizing that, you're putting in all the legwork, and then people are reaping rewards, but they're not really, in it, for the long run. Or maybe, if we just want to do it like that, just what they're taking doesn't add up to what they're putting in. I mean, if we just want to put in simple business terms. I don't think there is a. All right, let's just. I think there's two versions of that. All right, let's go, Anthony Bosch. What must an artist consider when looking for a band member partner? I think y'all just got to have synergy, and it got to be seamless. I think it's just kind of like, I mean, with, I think Flavomatics, eventually you guys will meet them. I think we have a unique partnership because we're both from Queens. We both kind of have similar stories. And, it's always just been, we do have arguments, you do have disagreements, but it's always reconcilable and never gets past that point. I guess if that's what I would say. I would think respect. I would think, and respect across the board, just respect for each other in terms of, your personality, character, and of course for their art and their talent. Right. And then but beyond the respect, there's also that y'all work ethic has to match. I think those are, because what happens is too, if, and then you guys also got to specialize in different things. Because that was one thing, like me, I wanted to learn how to make beats, but then I was kind of like, I already got guys, people, shout out to Tino as well too, that's focused on that. So let me focus on other things that I can help others as well too. And then now is there a difference with major labels in the PI to the US? Yes, I would say yes. First, of course, is the budget. Philippines is such a small market, and it's Philippine peso. So, it's a little different. And then in terms of your market, I think it's starting to change now. There is an opening up somewhat, but it's still not there yet, if you get what I'm saying. You know, they view local art and international art as two separate entities. So when it's local, which means it comes from the Philippines, it has to have a more quote unquote masa sound. And what masa means is just the general public. So now if you're talking about America, you're talking about, you know, Europe, the masa is the middle class, right? But in countries like, you know, the Philippines, etc., the masa is generally the poor, or they call them there, they separate them to classes, the A, B, and C, right? A and B is, A is the high class, upper class, B is kind of mid-high, C is kind of the middle class, then you got D, E, and F. And D, E, and F is the majority there. You know, 70% live below poverty level. So that's who they're focused on. So it's a little different in terms of the sounds. I would think, I mean, from my, I guess the easiest way to say it, I would say there's, you know, this is a time difference. It's like 10 years behind. Yeah. Oh, I think that's my time already, guys. If you anyone has any questions, sorry if I wasted it on if I did some sound check, everything, but sorry that it wasn't synced. But I know basically at the end of the day, just what I want to share with y'all, I guess if there is a, you know, a closing thought, moral to the story is you got to have purpose to your passion. Because, you know, when I was an artist in LA or even in New York, I would always get burnt out because I was doing it for the fame. I was doing it to try to make money. I was doing it to be the man, etc. But I think for me, when I went back, you know, to the Philippines, it kind of showed me that all that stuff doesn't matter, in a way. And I guess I could just say it humbled me. And at the end of the day, in terms of art, in terms of having purpose, it's about community. It's about building bridges. It's about connecting. It's about learning. It's about, you know, it's not just about what you get. It's really more about what you give. And those were things, I think, a lot of lessons. You know, I can't say I didn't know it before, but I think they took more prominence in terms of me as a person, you know, by going back and traveling as well too. You know, I've been blessed, you know, through hosting and emceeing, you know, to travel with FIBA 3x3 to so many different continents and so many different countries, and just experiencing and meeting all these different kinds of people, and meeting all you guys here. You know, I don't think I would have been able to do that or, you know, be who I am if it wasn't for all those things. So, you know, just thankful. And I think that's another thing. Be thankful, be kind, and, you know your purpose. Know that what you do, whatever's part of music, whatever you do in your life, that, you know, it's called the sum of all the parts, you know, is greater than the individual parts. And you know, that's synergy. And that's what, you know, Music Token and the Unit Network is all about. There you go.
There you go. Thank you, Noah. Truly,
round of applause for me. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
He's truly one of the most prolific and talented, skilled lyricists that I know. So
Thank you.
I'm glad that you graced us with your thoughts.
Nice. Thank you.